Chad and Swisher do a community podcast night. This episode of the Chad and Swisher do a community podcast is brought to you by the Oh Hi, Oh Guys production. Powered by RealNerdCorp.com, live on twitch.tv/CommonGameCorp. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Chad and Swisher do a community podcast night edition. If you didn't already know, I'm your host for this evening. My name is Alex Swisher. I am the Crown Vic of podcasting. At least that's what I call myself. I'm trademarking that. You can't steal it. It's mine. And joining me, as always, is my trusty co-host. Some know him by his very illustrious stage name, Ovaltine Jenkins, but you know him as Chad Porto. Chad, how you doing?
We're doing.
Yeah, so we are on episode 3 of our community podcast, junior year. Title of this episode is R.I.P. Starburns. His name was Alex. So yeah, the only thing I changed up about this week, Chad, is that we're Chad and Swisher do a community podcast. Nice.
Hey guys, Annie, long time, first time.
Long time, first time. It's like, yeah, I just have one question for you guys. Boom, boom, boom. Can you keep it down? It's 3 a.m. I'm trying to sleep.
All I gotta say is if Annie was my roommate, how would I have a hard time sleeping?
I was wondering where that sentence was going to go, and honestly, it didn't take as hard of a left turn as I thought it was going to.
See, here's the thing. I'm not one of those guys that forces something to happen. I'm very much someone who needs to be wanted. So, like, if you don't want me, I'm gonna have zero interest. Like, a slug could be like, yo, I think you're sexy. And I'll be like, sup, slug? How you doing? I don't have a problem with that.
You're a hoe for attention.
No, I'm a hoe for affection.
Affection. Yes, is a much better
But I'm a committed hoe.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean it in that sense. I thought that just the dirty joke that you were going to come up with was going to be offensive.
No. If one, Annie would not move in with me because I would have a hard time just living next to someone as pretty as she is. I'd be basically Jack Tripper, just like walking out and falling over everything every time I see her. It'd be bad. Maybe she would be like, take pity on me. I don't know. I'll take pity. It's something. So, I'm going to make a big, bold statement about Season 3. You might not want to stand next to me. Where'd you go?
I'm here.
No, I was joking because like you're not next to me because nah.
You suck.
Actually, Season 3 does.
Wow, really?
I gotta say, after watching, to be clear, when I say I've watched Community a lot, I'm not saying like I've watched it, all the way through once or twice. I'm saying that this is, without hyperbole, probably my 10th viewing of the entire series. Seasons 5 and 6, maybe 4 or 5, not 10, but still. Season 3 is just not it. I feel like in a lot of instances, they either tried to go too far or tried to stay too sane. And they did it all while trying to make the study group villains. And like that was a motif that continued on, I think, into Season 4 a bit. And I was just like, why? Like, it felt unnecessary. Like, it was one thing to have them be a part of the ecosystem, but in Season 3, the focus really shifted to making them the core part of the ecosystem. And I thought that was where the show kind of tripped up some. Like, they're the A-team, they're the Avengers, the Justice League, they're Corey and Sean times 7. 2.5, 3.5. Shut up. Because there's 7 of them, not 2. But, like, they're the ones everyone is here to see, even in school. And it's like, I don't know. I think you kind of lost the script on that one, guys. That's not to say there's not some really great episodes in this season, because there are. I can come up with at least 10 really good ones. But a lot of them I thought were skippable.
I understand what you're saying. That I have an issue with that too. I really dislike the fact that they went out of their way to try and turn um, the study group into the bad guys because, like, you should never want the core focus of your, at least not all of them, to be, antagonists for any part of the season. Because, like, or antagonists at all, really. Like, if they fuck up and become, assholes for a few episodes, that's fine. Because, I mean, Scrubs did that. There are definitely some times where people fuck up and you get mad with the characters. You don't like what the characters are doing or the decisions they're making.
Or just
And
stayed
Scrubs
mad
did
in the case of JD.
right, yeah. JD, literally from the start of season 1 to the end of season 1, the start of season 2 to the end of season 2, etc. JD will do a complete flip flop.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where you start with JD, by the end of the episode, you're going to be on the opposite, or by the end of the season, I should say, you're going to be at the opposite end of the spectrum with him. And that's the thing. Even though you love Bob Kelso as a character, the show itself wasn't afraid to make you hate him. And that was his role. And they do that in season 1 and 2 with, like, Pierce and most of the characters, honestly. Besides maybe, like, Troy.
All of them. No, even Troy. Especially in season 1.
Yeah, fair. In season 1, yeah. But I feel like he gets it a lot less than the completely outlandish characters. Like Shirley when she's pushing her religion, or Pierce in general. But like Jeff when he's being a complete douchebag as opposed to half a douchebag.
Well,
but yeah, they
remember
definitely
in season 1, Troy insulted Abed, and then like even said like he did the whole Barack Obama's my uncle thing. Remember that? The way he treated Annie. He even said something to Jeff like you're the tutor, right? So that means you do my work. So like season 1, like he was a dick, but like I don't even know because like he had the same kind of gravitational shift that Britta did, where he went completely 180, and it was almost like they used him to juxtapose Pierce. But even at the end of season 3, Pierce was a much better person.
Yeah. Here's the crazy thing is, like, you're right, is like I feel like in season 1 his character shifted so drastically to season 2 because Troy went from being like kind of smart and kind of poignant to just being like, okay, we're gonna make him the full-on idiot of the group.
Yeah, like, he's the Corey Matthews of the group.
Yeah, where they literally were like, he's gonna make outlandish claims and he's gonna say stupid stuff. And they do that in season 2 with the flashback episode. What was it? Paradigms of Human Memory.
Yeah, I think so. The
where he
Patrick's Day quote unquote episode.
The one where I've seen enough cartoons to know that if you pop the back of a raft, it makes you go fast. Like that. Like, yeah. But Britta, God. There's no saving that character at this point.
No. Baggles have fallen off the goddamn tray.
Yeah. But yeah, like you should never go out of your way to make you hate the core group or try to make you hate the core group because it's never going to work and you always have to dig yourself out of that hole.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter, using Scrubs as another example because it's like the only show that I have that I can reference without questioning myself. It's like it doesn't matter how much you hate certain characters. Eventually, they're going to find a way to redeem themselves, and they should, because if they're a main focus of your show and they're not outright a villain, which nobody in Scrubs is, and none of the core 7 cast members of Community are, then you don't want your audience to hate them. It's like, yeah, people can say that they hate Pierce, but they don't really hate Pierce. They just think that he's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, they make him racist because it's funny. Because he's from a bygone era where he was allowed to be racist and he was allowed to do these things. And in the times that he's doing it, it's not okay. So he's a scapegoat character for people to hate because he's very easily the easiest one to hate.
I wouldn't even say that Pierce is necessarily racist as he is bigoted.
Bigoted, yes.
Because Pierce doesn't hate anyone for their race. In fact, he I think in season 3 he even says he propositioned Shirley for a night of romance when he first met her.
Oh, you're right. He's not racist. He's just bigoted, and he believes in all of the stereotypes.
Yes, but all of
Yeah.
them, not just limited to one group.
No, all of them. Because
Italians, Swedes, Japanese, black, it doesn't matter.
yep,
He believes them all.
Troy and Shirley get their share of bigoted comments from him, but so does Annie for being Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, it's very easy to see him as the least likable character, but that's just where it kind of you draw the line, least likable. But they really go out of your way to just kind of like set the group up to be bad guys in this season. And I agree with you in thinking that like, yeah, it's cool if the rest like I guess it's kind of okay if the rest of the school hates them because they're constantly the center of attention and they get treated like royalty by the dean. Like, sure, that's fine, but like go out of your way to make them try and unite the school with them again so they have even less of a barrier standing in front of them besides their own stupidity. Because that should be the biggest fucking issue is that there's nobody standing in their way. They're standing in their way because they're idiots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but instead you have Chang and you have fucking Dean. What was the name of the dean from City College? Dean Spreck.
Yeah, Spreck.
You know, but it's just one of those things. Like introducing dumb characters to kind of be antagonists for an episode is fine. Turning the main characters into the antagonists because the rest of the school doesn't like them is kind of stupid.
Yeah, and
But
there and it was really just a dark season, and I got to imagine watching this that Dan Harmon had grown tired of the show because he doesn't strike me as a guy who likes to focus that long on one project. So
yeah,
to me, I kind of just feel like he was looking for a way to kill the show, which is why he
I
wasn't
mean,
brought back for season 4.
if that's it, then that's it. But there's so much more that could have been done because season 3 to me sets up the idea of being able to do ridiculous shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like the was it Basic Lupine Urology, which was the Law and Order spoof episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it set itself up to do completely ridiculous shit. So you can expand upon that without losing the complete scope of reality. But I mean, they've also done that with the paintball episodes as well. Modern Warfare, and then Fistful of Paintballs and Just a Few Paintballs More.
Yeah, but
Those three.
well, the one
Yeah,
thing I do want to point out though is like they were doing these things in season 1 though, just not without the overt need to make it a parody. Like they had a courtroom episode in season 1, the one where
yeah,
Britta was on trial for cheating. So like everything they wanted to do, they could have done, and I feel like a lot of the charm of season 1 was that we were getting like the Law and Order, quote unquote, Law and Order episode in season 1, but instead of it being like an actual judge and jury, it's 3 dudes by a pool that's like with a really expensive judge's table that keeps getting wet, that can't get wet. That was great tongue in cheek stuff. But in this one, and I do love the Law and Order episode from season 3. Don't get this twisted, but I feel like season 3 was like, let's just get outlandishly stupid now. Like almost like they were running out of ideas, so they're like, let's just up it up to 12 and just say fuck it. And I think that did take away some of the appeal of the show, at least in mass, because it went from being a relatable, somewhat quirky show to being just flat out goof troop crazy.
yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. When you kind of lose that grounded in reality essence of the show, you kind of set yourself up for failure
Mm-hmm.
in a show that needs you to be grounded in reality. Which, going back to Scrubs let them be goofy and get away with ridiculous shit while also being grounded in reality because they preface most of it with dream sequences.
Yeah, most of the crazy shit that happened in Scrubs wasn't far-fetched when you realize that the characters were doing them years after being established.
Yeah, true. I like the one thing that still stands out to me is the janitor's giant underwater tunnel. Like that one, that eludes me to this day as how that was possible. But for the sake, it doesn't bother me because of the show it was in.
Well,
You
we
know,
also know like,
it
but in season one we saw like the janitor did a lot of things like kind of behind the scenes, a mover, or shaker, or such, and he had his little squirrel army. So like,
yeah.
it wasn't like out of the realm of possibility that this dude who does all kinds of weird shit is doing some weird shit. What was
Quick Chad trivia question: how many fingers does the janitor's wife have?
uh, hang on, it was a thumb and pinky pointer, 3.
Ooh, yes, it is 3, but you were right. It was pointer and thumb
Thumb,
pinky.
pointer, and thumb pinky.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got all 3 right, and you got the number right. You just got the configuration wrong.
See, like when I hit 26, like I can't watch Scrubs anymore. It's too fucking real. Too many people die of diseases that I could get. I'm like, no. So I haven't watched the show in a decade, and I still remember everything.
I think I rewatch it like once a year.
It's a good show. It's well written. It's just at a point now where I'm like, I don't want to get that. What is it? Cholera? I could get cholera now. Fuck.
Like you're not gonna die from cholera.
Dude, some chick died in Scrubs from a giant smoke snake.
Yeah, and fucking the annoying chick died from rabies.
Yeah, I could get rabies.
Oh, all right. We can't talk about that episode because that leads down a dark path.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's the rough one.
Remember Martin Starr being in the 2nd episode of season 3?
2nd episode of season 3
of Community.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
Professor Cligoris.
Cligoris, you mean?
It's one of my favorite jokes is like, pardon me, Professor Cligoris, or is it Cligoris? And he stands up and he just goes, both are correct. Yeah. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to do like a full-on breakdown of each episode, or?
So, well, let's do like what we've been doing and update the seasonal arcs for each character. It's a dark year for the group. Jeff again kind of just plays the reflection mirror. No real romantic entanglements to speak of for the season. They do have some Annie Jeff innuendos at times, especially during like the Christmas episode. But largely, he got pulled away from any singular objective outside of dealing with Pierce in the first episode and being the leader of the group. Like that's really his arc. It wasn't that impressive. I'm trying to think of what else he did this year. Outside of being a leader, I think that was it.
Yeah, no, he was just basically the leader.
Britta continues her downward spiral into stupidity. Like I love Community, I really do, but that's not to say it's a perfect show because it's not. Because the way they treated Britta, especially in season 3 and on, it was just atrocious.
Dude, it really does suck.
Yeah, she finally declares her major. She's going to be a therapist, and she's going to therapize people. Almost Britta.
And nothing she does from that point forward can just be a bit. It has to. Her whole life from that point forward revolves around being a therapist.
And it's not even just that. It's that she becomes increasingly worse as a character throughout the season. Like she goes from being still somewhat respectable. Like remember how she ended season 1 basically being the second dog of the gang. Like she clearly the number 2, to being barely competent, and it's insulting.
She was such a big focus in season 1, and then just from that point forward, they just started putting so many characters ahead of her.
And I don't know if that was her idea or what, but
I don't know. But like, I know at the beginning of season 4, was it the beginning? It's the Halloween episode with Pierce's haunted mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Her entire role in that episode is just being a fucking nuisance to Jeff about his father issues.
And like, if that was her shtick for the seasons 2 through 7 or 2 through 6, great. Because like, as Troy said in I think season 1 or season 2, that she's a ruiner, and she should just start a ruiner club, and then she'd ruin that too. But that's the point. Like, fine. That's fine. Make her just be obnoxious, especially with Chevy Chase in season 4 being on the outs. You need that obnoxious character, but they
Yeah.
made her stupid and obnoxious, and that's
Yeah.
the unforgivable sin.
That's the problem, is that not only is she obnoxious, she's stupid. So anything she's obnoxious about, she can't back it up.
Right. It'd be different if she was right.
Yeah. No, you're 100% you're right. But it does, again, it does lead to some great moments, like the scene that I sent you on Twitter of her offering her therapy to anyone.
I therapize you. You used to be smarter than me. Thank you.
You know, yeah, I thought you were smarter than me when I met you. Thank you. Yeah, that comes right after the death of Starburns.
Yep. So then we get
who's next?
Abed. Abed kind of does Abed things until the last 2 or 3 episodes. He starts to have some real big breakdowns. And it would be a lot more, I think, palatable if it wasn't done in the scope of science fiction jargon. Like, again, I go back to the episode in season 1 where they were doing a court scene next to a pool, but they were, they were doing it because the dean is super insecure about him being a dean of a community college, so he's trying to be like, look, we have a judges table like a real college. So it's very tongue-in-cheek, but this, they kind of just go sci-fi nonsense. And it is ironic that it's Britta that breaks him, so that love that. But he then goes evil persona.
Well, which episode does Britta break him?
Well, Annie starts it off, I think.
Oh, yeah, course listing unavailable?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, Annie starts it off in Virtual Systems Analysis, episode 16, with the Dreamatorium episode.
Yeah. So Annie starts off in 16, but then I think in episode 21, no, episode 22, I think, Britta is doing a therapy session with Abed to start the episode, and Abed just, he's already dealing with his evil Abed persona, and he kind of just kicks off then. And that's how the season finale goes.
It's I think it's 18.
18? Is that what it was?
Because it says Starburns suddenly dies. Britta insists on counseling the group using her skills from psychology class, despite nobody grieving him.
This was a single session, and it was after the Chang arc. It was to kick off the episode, because it had something to do with part of Abed getting back into school.
Yes, you're right, because it's the sandwich shop case, and Jeff is what is it? What's the word when you were a lawyer for someone?
The defense attorney? Representing?
No, there's representing. Thank you. Why couldn't I think of the word representing? Jeff was representing Shirley against Rob Corddry, and evil Abed walks in with a fucking what is it? It's not even like a circular saw.
No, it's a meat saw. It's for carving.
It's like a
turkey.
bone. It's a bone saw, isn't it?
Well, no, it's for carving turkey. So whatever that would be.
No, it wasn't a curvy turkey carver. Turkey carver is a long serrated blade. This was a round circular blade.
Was it?
Either way.
We'll try and
let me.
I'm already Googling it. Let's see.
It was a bone saw. Before getting a chance to before getting a chance to physically cut off Jeff's arm with a bone saw, evil Abed hears Jeff's speech about selflessness and turns back into good Abed. Because that scene is hilarious, where he walks in, he plugs in the bone saw and tries to walk towards Jeff, but the cord isn't long enough. So he walks out of the courtroom. Nobody's paying attention to him. He walks back in with an extension cord. Plugs in the extension cord to the bone saw, and then proceeds to start walking towards Jeff, and then Jeff gives his speech on selflessness.
The best part was he's like, yeah, I was going to cut Jeff's arm off, and Jeff's like, wait, what?
Yeah, he's like, I was going to cut Jeff's arm off. So, dude, that was great.
So that's kind of like Abed's arc is that he's dealing with the darkness of the season. And we do see it a little bit sooner, like during the 2-part Blanket Fort Pillow Fort War. We start to see him be a little bit more callous than he normally is, and that's saying a lot.
Oh yeah.
So he definitely is the darker of the characters for this season in terms of personality. And maybe it all started with the move-in, or the hosting, I should say, of their inaugural dinner thing at their apartment, because that's where they started to look at different timelines and such. But
Yeah.
yeah, he definitely had the darkest of the timelines. Shirley's actually had a very nice, robust one. She was dealing with what she wants to do with her future, and she's very unsure, and she wants to, start Shirley's Sandwiches. And
Gets remarried.
Gets remarried. That's more just an episode, though. It doesn't really have much of an effect. Well, actually, I think
it's a part of the growth of her. So yes, they technically never got divorced.
Right. So this was just a ceremonial thing. But
yes.
The seasonal arc is her trying to launch her business.
Yes. Which changes from what her original plan for going to Greendale was. Because her original plan at Greendale was to get a degree so that she could sell her baked goods online.
Well,
and now
slightly
she has
changed.
Presented the... Huh?
Slightly changed.
Yeah,
because she's still
changed.
going. She's still going into food selling, though.
Yes. Shirley's Sandwiches. So, who's next?
Annie. Annie doesn't really have a seasonal arc. Oh well, she has a minor one. It's the moving in with the boys and dealing with the hubbubaloo that comes with that. But that's like a very B plot line to most episodes, besides the move-in episode. Yeah. So there's not much there. Troy doesn't really have one. Short of him trying to deal with Abed's more pronounced insanity.
Well, he does get his arc towards... Most of this season is him denying Vice Dean Laybourne.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Advances, played by John Goodman, of course. Trying to deny his advances of recruiting him to the air conditioning repair annex.
Vice Dean Laybourne, or do you have a goatee? I'm going
and a ponytail?
I'm going through something at the moment.
Going through some things. I love in Pillows and Blankets when Vice Dean Laybourne shows up to talk to Abed.
In a red onesie.
And in his red onesie. And then he goes, can you please look in the other direction so that I can crawl away in shame? I'm going.
No, he doesn't even say shame. He's like, could you turn around so I can crawl away? I'm insecure and I'm currently going through something.
He says, I'm insecure and I'm going through some things right now and I'm insecure. And Abed turns around and you see him slowly start to crawl away. Oh, dude. Fucking John Goodman rules.
Yeah, love John Goodman. Pierce, his story arc kind of ebbs and flows. He doesn't have any one singular long one. He starts off with deciding to come back into the study group after leaving the study group at the end of season 2. Then it was him helping Shirley, and then it was him betraying Shirley. So, typical Pierce stuff. Gotta love it.
And then also dealing with does his dad die in season 2 or was it season?
I think
3?
It's season 3 because it's geography of. Nope, that's not it. Hang on, where is it? I just saw it. Advanced Gay.
That's right. Yeah, Advanced Gay. His we find out that his full name is Pearsonold.
Pearsonold. His father has an ivory wig.
It's an ivory. It's a wig made out of pure ivory. Yeah. His dad is a complete asshole and a racist.
Oh, hardcore Southern, missed out on the Klan rallies 20 years too early or late. Racist.
Literally dressed like the Colonel. Like dressed like Colonel Sanders.
Which actually kind of makes me laugh because it goes back to the episode where they're in the KFC space
wagon. The KFC rocket. Yeah.
And Colonel Sanders was convincing Pierce to betray his friends.
Yeah. If that's the case, that's some excellent callback.
It is. I gotta think it is. So
I mean, now that you bring it up, that seems like the only logical explanation for it.
So there's that. Jeff yells at his dad and kills him. So
Jeff does yell at his dad and kill him.
Pierce gifts Jeff his father's ivory wig because the the Will said that whoever kills him gets the wig.
Yeah, whoever kills him. He goes, my dad would have wanted you to have this. And he goes, no, I honestly can't take this. And he goes, no, you have to take it. It says in his will that it goes to whoever kills him. So good. Yeah, and then towards the end of the season, we find out some more things about his family life.
Yes.
Um,
That he has a half
Pierce
brother.
he has a half brother, Gilbert Lawson, who is played by Giancarlo Esposito. Most of you know him from Breaking Bad, where he played Gus Fring. But yes, he has a half brother who his dad never acknowledged because he's
He's
not white.
Yeah, he's Hispanic, and
Yes,
and his mother was the housekeeper during their childhood.
yes, and we can get to digital estate planning because the way that ends, the way that turns out at the end is very, very Pierce's dad.
Yes. The idea of Abed, though, having the darkest timeline, I completely forgot about, is really magnified in a couple episodes where Troy is having to deal with it the most. The video game episode that you're referring to, which I think is like the third to last episode of the season, Abed bails on the group in game. It's played for laughs, but you got to remember he literally bailed on the group, fell in love with a computer program, had computer program babies, and then used his computer program babies as kamikaze bombers. That's pretty
much,
fucking twisted.
It's pretty dark, dude. But I love all the little, the little baby Abeds. Cool.
And then there was the episode where they were doing impersonations for French Stewart.
Oh yeah, what? That was one of my favorite jokes. It was good. This is Vinny. He's a French Stewart impersonator. I was like, God damn it! What is that? Contemporary impressionist?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's racked up a debt of several $1,000s. And
$3,000.
Yes. And the gang decides to help him by doing a night of impersonations. And Abed doesn't care. So Troy's arc of having to protect Abed throughout the season and getting bailed on by Abed is actually quite more pronounced than I realized.
Yeah, and that carries over into the start of season 4.
Mm-hmm. The biggest arc belongs to Ben Chang.
Jesus Christ.
And talk about a character that Britta and Chang and Troy just went full on crazy Duck City.
Yes.
It makes no sense. Like Chang went from being kind of an asshole Hispanic teacher to being out of work and taking classes to find his new muse or what have you to now being legitimately delusional for no reason.
Yep.
Makes no sense.
Yeah. It went from him kind of being like, oh, Chang is crazy. You know, like
Hooch.
I was about to make that comparison where like, Hooch is crazy. Hooch is crazy. So Chang is crazy. Like they just decided, hey, like with Hooch, it doesn't matter because Hooch was in like 3 episodes, and or physically appears in like 3-4 episodes, if that. It gets mentioned in a lot of episodes, but it doesn't really matter when they find out that he's actually psychotic. Chang becomes a main cast member from season 2 onwards. So, like, he's in most episodes. So for him to just go on from being like, he's kind of stupid, kind of crazy, to just being like, oh, no, he's not stupid. He's a full-blown idiot, and he has severe mental issues because he actually is psychotic. Yeah, steps in the wrong direction. Like, honestly, like, because Chang full on turns into a dictator, gets the group expelled from Greendale, and then turns it into basically his own little college. And I don't understand how any of this tracks in any realm of reality whatsoever. Because, like, the 2 idiot like directors from the board of directors, is I guess is what you call them, are just cool going along with it, and they like aren't paying attention to the details or his expenditures. He spends like a bunch of money on a fucking throne for himself, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. Like there comes a point where like you cross a line that like you can't come back from, and that is one of the things that crosses that line for me of like nobody. So nobody's tried to like do anything about this. Nobody questioned it. Nobody said, "Hey, don't. Hey, I know that you say it's," because I'm pretty sure he says to his little child soldier, which is another thing I'll get to. Oh, my throne is therapeutic. It helps with my because you guys, I have back bumps. Don't look it up. It's like anybody with like in any sense of reality, somebody would be like, okay, get a less, you don't need a fucking throne for that. We'll get you a therapy chair, which probably doesn't cost as much as it takes to build a throne out of gold. And then also the dean allowing him to have children, literally preteens, as an army of security guards. These are just things that don't happen.
Yeah. There is some good moments, though, with that, and I don't want to completely write it off and say that it was useless. Like, the whole Pillow Fort War, they were used as like a kamikaze, like, they literally call them the Changlorious Bastards, because that's what they were.
The Changlorious Bastards, yeah.
But there was one kid, and you never knew who he was. But like whenever they did their almost rabid wolf pack attack, you just heard one kid going, "I'm gonna give me some! I'm gonna give me some!" I don't know why that shit just
great.
Makes me laugh.
It does have its moments. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it does, it's stupid, it sucked all the way around. But like when you look at the overarching narrative of it, like eventually it's the same thing that we have with professional wrestling, where is it believable?
Mm-hmm.
Suspension of disbelief is one thing. Completely throwing belief out the window is another thing.
Yeah. Having a race kerfuffle to end season 2 makes sense, because look at modern college today. It makes sense.
Yes.
Ending season 3 though with the Chang dynasty taking over a school and keeping someone locked up for days, weeks. I don't know. So they did introduce some new characters though. So because I don't want to get hung up on this one thing. Michael K. Williams came in. He played what was his name in The Wire? Omar Little. He played Omar Little in The Wire. Real nice addition, and I thought he was going to be like the new Chang, kind of like how what was his name? He took over the anthropology class last year. Duncan, like Duncan was.
Oh, Duncan, yeah.
And then you had Chang in season 1, but he's only in like 2 or 3 episodes, if that.
Yeah, the biology professor, Professor, what was it?
You had to ask.
Biology
Marshall
Professor Marshall Kane, yeah.
So he's not even all that funny. They gave him some of the weirdest lines, and I don't know what they were for. In the introductory episode of the season, he's like, so I've been in jail for 15 years, but I did my time, and I got my education. But I got a question. What's up with Legos? I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but before they were just like blocks, and now like they're Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah.
And like
he said they used to be so simple.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't have a problem with it. I just want to know. And everyone just stares.
Annie goes to raise her hand, and Jeff shuts her down.
Right, and that was funny, but like the whole spiel, like it took like 45, 50 seconds. I'm like, what was the point of that?
Yeah,
was it for the Annie hand raising bit? Like,
yeah, it was definitely unnecessary. I do like him as a character just for the sake of like, oh, he's kind of grounded in reality a little bit.
Well, until we get to the Law and Order episode, in which case everything goes out the window.
Everything does go out the window.
Yeah. So like that's no longer a thing. We also get, what else did we get this year? We got Weisstein Laybourne. We already talked about the dean. So that was kind of comical. So Weisstein Laybourne is the vice dean of the school, but the dean of the AC arm of the institution. He still answers
Yes,
to Dean Pelton, though.
the air conditioning repair
Right.
annex.
So Dean Pelton decides that he's fed up with the treatment he's gotten. So he has a goatee, a new suit, and he's going to go and become the dean that the school deserves. So he goes and confronts Vice Dean about, the spending on like a cappuccino machine. And Vice Dean Laybourne basically goes, "Motherfucker, do you know how much money I make for your fucking college?"
Yeah.
And he even gets to a point where he's like, Dean, I think we're going to have a change this year. A change in how things are done. And then he snapped his finger and then barbers walked in and he goes, "You're going to shave that goatee. You look ridiculous."
Yeah, he's like, starting with that goatee. You look ridiculous.
So then he's going around we're not going to have a good year. And he's crying.
That's one of my favorite moments with the dean, is him just walking in at the beginning of the episode with the goatee and everything. He's like, "Oh, we're going to have a great year this year. Things are going to be different." And then at the end of the episode, walking in clean shaven with the cut marks all over him. "We're not going to have a good year."
So we get more Neil and Vicky. They're back. We get Murray, the AC repairman, who's kind of the actual big bad of the season.
Yeah.
He's the one that doesn't want. He's the one that doesn't want Troy in the AC repair unit.
And also one of the many people that we found out have just straight up killed someone.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was building up to that eventually.
Yeah, because what episode is it? It's the Christmas episode, regional holiday music. Taron Killam's character. What is his name? Mr. Rad.
Oh yeah, Mr. Rad.
Radisson.
He killed the last Glee Club.
The last Glee Club. He crashed. He cut the brake lines on the bus.
Oh God. So
yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that one. Trust me, that one's on the docket. We had Sergeant Nunez, who was one of the security guards of the season. Mel Rodriguez. He's been in a few things that I liked him in. So it was great to see him. He's only in the first few episodes because he eventually, he's the mirror of the season because he's like, Dean, you're enabling a man who's ill, and I'm not gonna be okay with this. And he actually ends up quitting because of Dean's behavior. And I was like, oh, all right. Let's see.
Because of the dean's behavior and because of him being an enabler to Chang.
Right.
Delusions.
Well, that's what I mean. The dean's behavior was enabling Chang.
Right.
So the big addition for this year that I absolutely adore is David Neher as Todd Jacobson.
Todd. Oh my God.
Todd is in a few episodes throughout the rest of the series, and he's a former Army vet with a newborn baby girl, I think, and a recently married wife. He's fresh off of a honorable discharge from the military, and he's looking at starting his next chapter. He's a good kid. And he gets roped into the study group's drama. I think it's episode 3. Is that where they try to build the terrariums? Yeah, competitive ecology.
Yes.
So he gets paired with Pierce, and everyone else gets paired with their friends. But as the episode goes on, they realize that Jeff doesn't want to be paired with Annie. Actually, I think it's Annie that doesn't want to be paired with Jeff because Jeff is just coaxing for the A. Abed and Troy don't want to be paired together because they have nothing to talk about. Britta and Shirley don't want to be paired together for a reason, I'm sure. And so they decide to shake things up and try to get new lab partners, but that's not going to happen. And Jeff even has the line of the episode. He's like, I don't even care who my lab partner is, just not Todd. He's the worst.
No offense, Todd.
None. And Todd's entire he had 3 lines the entire episode, one of which he repeated, and it was none taken.
Yeah, none taken. I mean, he gets more than 3 lines. I remember distinctly him saying, "Guys, I just want to get home to my wife and my newborn baby," and then him on the phone with his wife later going, "Yeah, honey, I don't know when I'm gonna be home."
Okay, so he gets 4, because then he has his meltdown.
He does have his meltdown. Oh
And
boy.
then, and then,
Oh, poor Todd.
And then the biology professor's like, you guys broke my boy Todd. That man's an Army veteran.
That man's an Army veteran. Dude, then at the end of the episode when they're just shit talking Todd and he's literally 2 seats over at a fucking microscope. He looks up from the microscope and he's got a tear rolling down his face. How dare they make me feel emotions for a character that I just met?
Right.
Todd didn't deserve that.
Todd came back in a big way in the Law and Order episode, which was great.
Oh, dude.
And then we had Michael Ironside.
Michael Ironside. That's so crazy.
What was his name? Uncle what?
He played Colonel Archwood.
Yeah, was it Uncle Archie?
He was Uncle Archie, yes.
No, Uncle Archie, I've had enough of you.
That was great.
I wish Todd would have kept stuck around with the no offense taken bit. Yeah, that would have Jeff
been
just
great.
says man, people with 5 heads and curly hair really just make me queasy, and then you just see Todd, no offense taken.
Offense.
Jeez. All right, so the big episodes. Let's do our want to do our 5 favorite episodes next? Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Well,
we can do our.
We can do and when I say we, I mean when I mean quick, I mean here's what happened. Moving on. We can do that with every episode, and then we can go back and touch on the ones we really liked.
Yeah.
Okay. Biology 101, Pierce can't get into a class. Jeff gets kicked out of a class. Then Jeff puts an axe to the study table, and everyone reunites. Ta-da. In Geography of Global Conflict, we get introduced to Annie Kim. Both Annie Kim and Annie Edison decide they want to start a global UN, a model UN. And then they have a debate where the gang wins by introducing multiverse theory. And also, This was your favorite character of the season because it was Dr. Clitoris.
Dr. Clitoris.
Both are correct. In competitive ecology, we just talked about that one. That was the one that introduces Todd. They nearly burn a turtle to death. Again, this was not a great season for this group of characters. We're gonna come back.
It wasn't.
We're gonna come back hard with remedial chaos theory, so we're gonna just skip that one entirely because that one's gonna be on one of our lists, I'm sure. Horror fiction in 7 Spooky Steps actually had a great idea. Britta wanted to give Abed a test to see if he's a sociopath, but the only way to do it is if they all took the test. So while they waited for the results, I guess, they all told spooky stories. And at the end of the episode, they find out that 6 of them are sociopaths, and one of them isn't. Oh, I'm sorry, I fucked that up. They took the test first, found out that one of them was a sociopath, so they told stories to suss out who, because they think it might have been Abed. But then at the end of the episode, they find out that Abed is the only one who's not a sociopath. So that's horrifying. Again, this season went out of its way to destroy their characters. I do not know why. Advanced Gay saw Pierce embrace a subculture of moist towelette users in the gay community. He became a gay icon. His father shut that down. Then his father died. So that's the thing.
Yep.
Studies in modern movement. Annie moves in with Troy and Abed. I love this episode. We get introduced to Troy and Abed's shadow puppetry, and Jeff and Dean sing a rousing rendition of "Kissed by a Rose."
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure Debbie, was it Debbie? The mousy, what was she? Gynecologist from Scrubs was in this episode as the woman who worked at the place Jeff was getting pants from. I forget her name, but she was like a real tiny, high pitched gynecologist in Scrubs. I forget what her character was. She only had like two scenes in Scrubs, but whatever. You might want to Google that. Because I want to know if I'm right. Documentary filmmaking Reed Dukes. Dean Pelton decides that he wants a new commercial. It becomes kind of a homage to Heart of Darkness, which was the the behind the scenes film of Apocalypse Now, and it actually stars Luis Guzman and Jeff Garlin, which is great. Jeff Garlin has just the best cameo at the end of it. Foosball and nocturnal vigilantism. We find out that Jeff and Shirley have a shared past because they used to do the same, go to the same youth center, and then they had to deal with a German group of people, and they played foosball. Kind of self-explanatory. And then Annie accidentally breaks Abed's signed copy of The Dark Knight. And best scene, maybe the best scene of the entire season is, what are we going to do, Annie? Are you going to record a new voiceover for this one-of-a-kind DVD? This scene was especially challenging. That's not a real plan, Annie! Regional holiday music was the Christmas episode where the gang decided to do a comedy with songs. We're coming back to this one, I assure you. Urban matrimony and the sandwich arts. Andre reappears and proposes to Shirley. Shirley has to decide if she wants to be a homemaker, that's what I'm thinking of, or a business owner. And at first, Andre's opposed to it, but Andre's probably the best character in this season. So he's like, actually, you know what? Once I get past my insecurities, just give me time and I'll be there. And the fact that they had these two divorce fucking pisses me off. Sorry. Moving on. Contemporary impressionists. I can speak. Jeff begins experiencing narcissism. Oh, yeah, this is the one where Abed owes people money, and Jeff looks like a more attractive Ryan Seacrest, and he ends up having a full-blown mental breakdown at a kid's bar mitzvah, which is also the introduction of the beginnings of the Chain Glorious Bastards. Let's see what else we got. Digital exploration of interior design. This is the start of a two-parter. Abed and Troy are building a pillow fort that leads into a blanket fort, and then eventually war. On the flip side, Britta falls in love with what was his name in Scrubs?
I'm sorry, you lost me. What were you saying?
The new doctor in season 5 of Scrubs who fell for Elliot. Keith, yeah. Britta falls for Keith from Scrubs in this episode, and Keith from Scrubs is actually named Subway because he's a human autonomy of the Subway sandwich shop. So, that's the end of Shirley's dream and the start of Subway being part of the show.
He was blonde in this, right?
He was blonde in Scrubs, too.
His hair was darker in Scrubs.
I don't know.
It was still blonde, but it was like a darker blonde, because I completely blanked on that. That was him. Also, I found the actress.
Okay.
Deborah Azar. She was Dr. Donna Berluti.
I was saying Debbie. I was close.
Yeah, it was Dr. Pipsqueak, referred to by Dr. Cox. And she was the doctor that helped Jordan deliver Jack, and she also helped Kim deliver Sam.
And was she also the actress who was in that episode of Community?
Yes, she was the clerk.
Yes! That's 2 Scrubs in one season. Got it. Nailed it. So after Subway wins the day and Britta is betrayed by Pierce and Shirley, Troy and Abed end their friendship because Abed won't get out of the way of Troy's burgeoning success. He's trying to have the longest pillow fort in Guinness World Records, but Abed ain't having it, so they go to war. And that leads us into maybe the best episode of the season, Pillows and Blankets, but we're coming back to that one because it is the best episode of the season, in my opinion. At least one of them. Origins of Vampire Mythology. We find out that Britta has a unhealthy attachment to a man named Blade.
I love the title of this episode and the name of her ex-boyfriend.
Yes. And then at the end of the episode, nothing else matters because it's a bottle episode, essentially. Or not a bottle episode, but it's a self-contained episode. But they end up watching the movie Blade at the end of the episode. I just thought that was adorable.
They were watching the movie Blade the entire time.
So the one thing about this is Blade has brain damage, and Jeff is trying to figure out why he hates and both respects Blade at the same time until he finds out that Blade has brain damage, and he doesn't feel shame anymore. And
he mentally cannot feel shame anymore.
So Britta's still obsessed with him, but Troy, Abed, and Annie are trying to keep her away from him. So Troy eventually ends up sealing the deal and making her not want to see Blade ever again by saying something to her through a text. Britta kind of chills and sits out after that happens, and Annie wants to know what happened, so she reads the text message, and it's something very positive and complimentary and good, and she freaks out on Britta saying, "What's wrong with you?" So yeah, that sets up to eventual things later on in the series. We get virtual systems analysis when a final exam is proposed. Annie talks to it. Oh, this is where. Is this where
Annie is trying to teach Abed about empathy.
Right, but it isn't also where Troy and Britta go to lunch together.
Yes. Troy and Britta go to lunch together. So their biology final gets postponed, so they all take a 3-hour lunch.
Right.
And the main crux of the episode is that instead of taking a full 3-hour lunch, Abed is going to spend time in the Dreamatorium, and Annie takes the opportunity to learn about the Dreamatorium. And in the course of doing so, breaks Abed's brain.
And to be fair, Abed's brain was already kind of breaking at this point.
Yes, but so in the Dreamatorium, Abed has a system of pipes set up where basically it shows this is how his thoughts work and how the Dreamatorium works. And in setting the place where Abed's thoughts get entered, she and there's a place for like other people on there as well. She takes off Abed's thoughts and puts other people there, and she goes, "Why don't you try thinking of other people first?" And this kind of completely breaks Abed and kind of isn't the start of Evil Abed, because the start of Evil Abed is
episode 4.
Yes, Remedial Chaos Theory. But it kind of shows Abed's thought process, but in the end is able to teach him empathy.
We think.
We hope.
Yeah. So then we get basic lupine urology. We're going to get to this one, but basically the study group's YAM has been destroyed, and they got to figure out who it is so they can get the A that they deserve. Course listing unavailable. Oh yeah, this is
Starburn died.
This is the Starburns Memorial. Starburn died, allegedly. At the end,
died.
Allegedly. At the end of episode 17. So they all have grieving issues, and then they all do a bit of a memorial that turns into a race kerfuffle.
One of my favorite things is a scene later where there's just the shot of the opening of the scene is a singular shot on the book, The Science of Death Faking.
Then the Greendale 7, as they're called, gets kicked out. So then that's the end of the episode.
That's in course listing unavailable, yeah.
Yes. Then we get curriculum unavailable, which is going to be something that we'll talk about more in depth. But basically, Abed is sent to a psychiatrist, and it's kind of in the same vein as the season 2 clip show episode that wasn't really a clip show episode, where they call back to things that didn't actually happen in the series that we've seen but happened in between the episodes, if you will. Digital estate planning was the video game episode, which we're going to talk more in depth about. Then the first Chang Dynasty was the climax of the season, where Chang has taken over Greendale with a group of small children, and the dean has been replaced by not Moby from How I Met Your Mother.
Yes.
And eventually Chang gets dethroned. The real dean comes around, and it's revealed that at night the dean runs a illegal disco.
It's a rave.
It's whatever. They're stupid.
You old man.
I am. And then in the season finale, Jeff and Alan battle in Greendale Court, I guess, for the right to have Pierce or Shirley be the sole owner of the Shirley sandwich shops. Evil Abed tries to cut off Jeff's arm, which we'll get more in depth to as to why when we talk about our favorite episodes. And at the end, Troy reveals to the signs up to the AC school as part of the condition of getting the dean freed and taking down Chang.
Well, he doesn't sign up for the AC school. He decides to become the truest repairman.
Oh, sorry.
And take on the role of the truest repairman, so long as he gets to dictate how the school, the annex, functions.
Well, he gets brought in because Vice Dean Laybourne wants him, and eventually he'll be the new Vice Dean if all things go But the reason why he finally agrees to be Weisstein Laybourne's new truest repairman is because they're trapped and they need a way
At
out
the end
of the Chang
the first
dynasty.
Chang Dynasty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he ends up finding out that Weisstein Laybourne has been murdered. We don't know how or why, just that there's an explosion. And it's revealed that the other air conditioning repair guy was the one who did it. So Troy and him battle off in an air conditioning battle off in an air conditioning repair scene where it's like a hot box, and the first person to fix their air conditioning wins, and the other person apparently just dies.
Well, it goes down to yield. The only way to lose is to yield or die.
Oh yeah, that's right. And Murray doesn't yield. We also find out there's a fifth wind.
That's right.
North, east, southwest, and the fifth one that we shall not speak the name of.
That we shall not speak the name of.
Okay.
It's a great joke.
By the by, the first Chang Dynasty was again directed by Super Trooper star Jay Chandrasekhar. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. You think we would be able to find out what his name was, but
I know what it is.
His name.
I can't facilitate how I hear it in my ear to my tongue.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So what are your 5 favorite episodes? Because I got 8, and I know you're at least going to take a few.
Yeah. So I'm just going down the list from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, and I will name off my 5 favorites. These are in no particular order. Remedial Chaos Theory.
All right, let's talk about that one before you go any further.
Okay.
This one we're saving for a specific reason because it's that good. So the gang are hosting their first get together at their new apartment. So Troy and Abed has moved in together, and the intro is great. Annie and Britta walk up, knock on the door, and they're like, "Is this the right apartment?" Troy and Abed open the door with these big, fake, cheesy ass smiles with ascots and suits on. And they're just like, welcome to our new apartment. And both Annie and Britta in unison go, hi. And you know me. Auditory things just hit me differently than most people. And every time that scene hits, I shudder. I'm like, ooh. I feel like Whoopi Goldberg in The Lion King. Say it again. Mufasa. Ooh. So Troy has the best fucking line in this episode. They're like, can we offer you anything to eat or whatnot? And they're like, you're throwing a very respectable party. Not exact lines, just go with it. And Troy goes, yes, I read a book on how to throw a party. It said how to throw a party and to avoid controversial topics like, I forget what the first one was, and the Negro problem. And they just start looking around, and Troy's like, the book's from the 1940s.
Yeah.
Oh, that cracks me up. So everyone comes over, and they order pizza, and they're going to play a game of Yahtzee. And the 7 of them decide that the best way to decide who to go get the pizza is to roll the die. The number from left from Jeff will go get it. So if it's 1, it'll be the first person to Jeff's left, and so on and so forth. So Jeff rolls the dice 6 different times, and we get 6 different outcomes in this episode. Some of which see Annie and Jeff make out or about to. Others see Britta get high in the bathroom. Others see Pierce telling everyone about banging Eartha Kitt.
All of them have Pierce mentioning that he had sex with Eartha Kitt. But some of them have Pierce presenting a troll doll
to Troy. So the darkest and the brightest timelines are the one we're going to focus on. The darkest one has Troy leave to go get the pizza. When he does, Annie and Jeff go to tend to Jeff's head wound because in every scenario, Jeff stands up and gets whacked by the ceiling fan. So Annie's like, let me take care of you. And then she trips, her purse falls, the gun goes off. Yes, Annie has a gun. Turns out that wasn't a bit in season 2. She really does have a gun. The bullet hits Pierce in the leg. A fire breaks out because Shirley was baking and no one wants her to bake. And because of that, a fire breaks out. Britta comes running out of the bathroom high as fuck. And then when Troy comes back, he sees the troll doll that was something that scared him shitless when he was living with Pierce in season 2. And it's on fire, and he's staring at it. Post that scenario, we find out that Jeff ended up losing his arm in the fire. Pierce ended up dying from the gunshot wound. Shirley's now an alcoholic. Annie is now sex crazed and in an institution. Sex crazed comes back in later at the end of the season. Abed is wearing a goatee. Did not grow. I did not misspeak. It's a felt goatee.
Yeah. He becomes evil Abed.
And Troy ate. I would assume he bit and didn't actually eat the troll.
So what happened was he I think he screamed so long that he actually blew out his larynx.
No. Because Britta even says Troy tried to eat the troll that's on fire. And Troy responded with, "You clearly don't know how to destroy a troll, Britta." He tried to eat a burning troll.
Right, yes.
And it destroyed his larynx. But now he sounds like a robot.
He destroyed his larynx by trying to eat the flaming troll doll.
And the best part is Britta was the worst affected. And she went so dark, she put a blue stripe in her hair. And Jeff's having none of that.
Jeff immediately turns to her and goes, "Britta,
I hate you.
I hate you.
Britta, I lost an arm. And I have a blue stripe in my hair. It's been a dark year. I hate you."
I know. It's been a dark year for all of us. Oh, she sucks. But it's saying here on Wikipedia that this episode was nominated for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Writing for a Comedy Series and the Hugo Award for Best Short-Form Dramatic Presentation.
I don't blame
nominated. But dude, this episode rules.
I don't know if I would, let's just put the baseline here. I think at least one of these episodes from the season deserves to be nominated for those awards. I don't know if that would have been the one I would have picked, but it's definitely in contention for the one I would have picked.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Part of my problem with that episode is that they always reset the scene, and to me, that's just wasted time, right? Like for me specifically, I'm not saying for anyone else. Like, how many times we got to hear Britta say Roxanne, and then Jeff go, "Nope." Like, nope. All right, we get it. You're shooting like 44 seconds worth of new material every time through. Great way to keep the budget down. I get it. The Bradis timeline, though, comes down because everyone from Troy, Britta, Abed, Annie, Shirley, Pierce, they all get sent to go get pizza. Except for the last time when Abed catches it and goes, essentially, Jeff's fucking with us. This is a 6-sided die. There's 7 people, and Jeff has devised a system where he never has to go get the pizza. So then they all send Jeff to go get the pizza for being a dick.
Abed mentioned something about saying, we all have our role to fill within the group, and maybe it should stay that way. Like Jeff. Jeff's always going to be a conniving son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's right.
And they all go, Abed, and he goes, well, Jeff just devised a plan where he's going to toss this die in the air, and when it lands, whatever it lands on, that person has to go get it. But he's devised a plan in which no form of reality, in none of the timelines, does he have to go get the pizza.
Right, it was fate. He's going to let fate decide which one of us gets the pizza, but... it's something about how he's cheating fate or whatever by taking himself out of the equation. So
they all turn to Jeff immediately and are like, "Jeff, you son of a bitch!"
And then he stands up and still gets smacked by the goddamn ceiling fan.
And he still hits his head on the ceiling fan and then walks out and goes to get the pizza.
And Annie goes, "Serves you right when it happens."
Yep.
But because he's not there, Britta starts singing Roxanne like Jeff keeps, he squashed it every other time through. So that brings Shirley in, Annie in. They all start singing.
Dancing.
Yep. Pierce was going to give Troy the troll doll that scares the shit out of him, but he eventually decides not to, and he just, basically says, "I'm proud of you, Troy." And Troy's like, "Thanks, man." And they all start singing and dancing, and Jeff walks in and goes, "You see what happens when I leave you alone for a minute?" And it ends on them singing and having a little party, and it's a really nice ending.
Everybody having a great time, except I want to point out one fact.
Okay.
Shirley never took her pies out of the oven.
Well, clearly she ends up doing it because no one burns to death or destroys their larynx trying to eat a burning troll.
Yes, clearly it's fine, but those pies were probably burnt.
At least, and this is not good, but at least they might have been a little, I shudder to even say it, a little overdone. Those pies.
They were so young.
Okay, so I'll,
All right.
I'll let you have this as one of your favorites. What's your next one?
My next one is regional holiday music.
Okay.
Regional holiday music is just great. I mean, everything about it. The Taron Killam playing a psychotic Glee Club director who constantly just wants to force people to going on to different regionals.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to go to
Is
regionals. I thought this was regionals. Don't let my confusion tone down the importance of it. I'm very invested.
yes, and then also the singing and of course Annie.
Yes. Oh, God. So
Annie in her Christmas outfit.
So I'll let you handle that one because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get us some hate mail if I take it. The 5 songs are Glee, which is a direct shot at Glee, the TV show, and it's Mr. Rad.
Yes.
What's his name? Terry Gilliam? No.
Taron Killam.
Taron Killiam. I'm thinking of the Breaking Bad creator who actually guest starred in, I think, season 4 or 5. It's fucking me up. So he plays Mr. Rad. Who's he married to? He's married to someone like gorgeous, and it doesn't make any sense.
Kobe Smulders.
No, never mind. That makes sense. So he sings to Abed and convinces Abed to join the Christmas show. But he's got to bring his buddies. And Abed even says, or at some point in the episode, you know, it's been a real dark year. I thought this would be a good way to, you know, brighten things up. Then we had Christmas Infiltration, where Abed sings to Troy in a more of a Christmas rap song. And this was this is the funniest of the songs, because basically Abed's saying, "Hey Troy, I know you're a Jehovah's Witness and you can't celebrate Christmas, but what if you infiltrated Christmas as a spy for Jehovah and try to take it down from the inside?" And Troy's like, "Yeah." Like, you could tell Troy's like, "I'm not going to take it down. I love Christmas." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea." And so a real good, solid joke in that one. Then we had Baby Boomer Santa, where Troy and Albert sing to Chevy Chase and basically appeal to his baby boomer, "We did everything right before you" narcissism. I thought that was great. We had one with Shirley, but it's not listed here. Where
It's the last one. Yeah, it is.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah, there it is. My bad. Got these out of order. Oh, the one who didn't get one that we saw was Britta, because it was just Jeff going and then they cut away to black. That's right.
Yes.
Then take the Annie one. Oh, Annie didn't get one either. She kind of got trapped.
Yeah, no, she didn't get one directly. No, she had. She catches the Glee Club virus after being cornered by Troy, Abed, and Mr. Rad.
Right, and then they started harmonizing, and then we go to black.
And then she dresses up in a sexy Santa outfit to seduce Jeff and sings the song "Teach Me How to Understand Christmas." So Jeff, being Jeff, calls her out for not even being able to celebrate Christmas because she's Jewish, and she goes, "But that's exactly why I need you, Jeff, because maybe you can teach me about Christmas, and I can learn." And then she proceeds to sing a song about not understanding anything about Christmas. But most of it is just her being flirty and sexy and trying to seduce Jeff, literally, because she knows that Jeff won't fall for any of the normal shit that the rest of the gang will fall for. He's not easily tricked. So she just is going to use her sex appeal, which she has a lot of, to convince Jeff to join the Glee Club. So she sings a song all about not being able to understand Christmas. Is a snowman hot or cold? Do I trim the tree or trim the deer? There's a lot of...
The best line was, "What's a Christmas Eve? Is that Santa's lady?" Even as a joke, that works, but as a line, that was great. I was like, "Ooh,
it's very
that's
good,
solid."
So then, halfway through the song, Jeff is just looking at her. He goes, "Is this a bit?" She continues on. She finishes off the song, but with the line, "Boopy doopy doop boop sex," to which Jeff replies, "There's a diminishing return on this whole sexiness thing." And she replies, "What's a diminishing wing? And then it hard cut, and we assume that they have sex.
So throughout the song, one thing that's happening is her intelligence is being either suppressed or taken from her. because she goes from
slowly drained from her body.
yes, like the longer the song goes, the more bimbofied she becomes, because she's like she starts talking about regionals and like how dastardly they're being and how they need to like evade everyone and like she's like I'm on your side essentially, but then like the song starts and she starts to become more coy and more gigglish and at a certain point
Yeah.
she gets pushed off Jeff's lap and she just starts like crawling around on all fours singing brain hurty understandy Christmas and I'm just like what.
Brain hurty understandy Christmas. Brain hurty understandy Christmas. This song is sang in the style of Santa Baby.
Yes, very much.
Similar to the style of Santa Baby.
My interpretation of this isn't so much that she's using her sex appeal to convince him, so much as she's allowing her walls to come down. Like, this is who she thinks Jeff wants, and she's letting herself have Jeff for Christmas. So she's going to get Jeff because they both have a mutual attraction. It's not so much her pulling like a Basic Instinct. I've never seen that movie. Is that even a fair comparison? But it's not her using her feminine wiles to get her way. I think she's more letting her inhibitions go. That's at least how I've always seen the scene.
I've never seen Basic Instinct. I think the only thing I know about Basic Instinct is the leg crossing scene.
Yeah, there's a vagina.
There's a vagina. Yeah.
2 hours, one vagina.
The fifth and final song.
I actually like this song.
Well, it's not the final song, but the fifth song, Happy Birthday, Jesus. Pierce invites a children's choir to sing to Shirley about how the public school system has thrown out the meaning of Christmas, the birth of Jesus, during its celebrations. And unable to resist her religious fervor, Shirley springs into song proclaiming Happy Birthday, Jesus.
The best part is like they threw God, what was I forget the line, but we don't know, the kids are saying like we don't know what day it is because they taught us not to pray. That's what it was. And then Shirley goes, that's what they do. That's what they do.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say like your own personal opinions on religion aside, the way Shirley is in this scene is like every reason why I love Yvette Nicole Brown. Like she goes from like scared and petrified to this joyous, raucous performance, and she's got just the most amazing voice of anyone in this cast. And she hits all the notes. And like I wish that they would actually make this into an album and give her the opportunity to sing a full song, because holy hell, she got a voice.
I have zero issues with the song or anything like that. Like, and I have zero issues with religion. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a devout Christian. But
lapsed Catholic here.
I was raised Catholic. Got out of that shit immediately. So my issue is, this is just an issue in general. It's not with the show. It's just it's in our Constitution, separation of church and state.
Right.
If anybody who wanted to talk politics was worth their salt would know that immediately. And I just I don't hate it because that is Shirley's character.
Mm-hmm.
She's not supposed to care about separation of church and state. She cares about church. That's it. She cares about Jesus and Christianity, which is fine. So I don't even know why I'm being... I'm mad about this for no reason.
Hey, there are just some things that fucking, wrinkle our brains.
Yeah, this one wrinkles my brain.
So this all leads up to a big song and dance performance where Pierce, who did not sing, because I don't know if Chevy Chase can sing, but it's Pierce, Annie, Shirley, and Troy doing weird fucking, I don't know, dumb shit. And then Abed's going to be the Mouse King, and Brent is going to be the tree.
Jeff is out there as well.
Did I not say Jeff?
No, you said Pierce. You may have said Jeff. I don't know.
Well, I was trying to go through like the lines, the way they're positioned in that flying V.
Yeah.
Flying V. Anyway, Abed's backstage as the Mouse King, and Britt is a tree who has no lines.
Britt, a mute tree, yeah.
Who's just the worst. But Abed realizes what's going on, and he realizes that he pretty much forced this to happen, and that Rad's kind of a psychopath, because Rad's like, Abed, this will never end. So he decides to sabotage the show, and he convinces Britta to sing her song's heart. Or no, sing her heart's song. That's what it was. God damn it.
Yes.
So she goes out there with the crown and this tight fucking brown jumper, and she just starts like tapping her fucking foot, going, "I got a Christmas song for me. I got a Christmas song for a tree. It's the dumbest song ever." And Rad freaks out, and everyone's like, "Oh, just let Britta sing. It's fine." And Rad kind of confesses that the last Glee Club that we saw Jeff essentially get destroyed through Madcap. Remember that part in season 2?
Yes.
Where the one guy stabs himself in the hand? Oh no, that was the start of this episode, wasn't it?
Yes, it was the start of the episode.
That's right. And it's not Madcap, it's Asscap. God damn it, Chad. Figure your shit out. Because Chang walks up with the goddamn cease and desist order. So that's why they're singing for the Glee Club anyway, because the Glee Club has a mental breakdown. But anyway, Rad confesses that he murdered the previous Glee Club before the ones that Jeff destroyed in a bus accident. And he'll do it again.
Yep, and then he distracts everyone so that he can run away.
Yeah, and he literally just says, "Hey, look!" And then everyone looks and he takes off. That's great. I think the reason why you like this episode so much is the last part of it. Is that fair to say?
No, the reason I like this episode much is because of Annie.
Oh, I mean, goddamn, yeah.
Yes, the last part of it, everybody coming together as a group.
So Abed is just distraught. Like he's having the darkest timeline. And yes, let's just be honest. Annie and anything cute and sexy is going to make us want to enjoy it. What was the one episode where Annie was doing something at the table and Abed and Troy were just watching her, shall we say, jiggle? No, it was the clay episode, the pottery episode. And it was Jeff and Abed watching her make the vase.
Oh, it was the episode where they break into it's the law firm episode.
No, the scene I'm thinking of is Annie's doing something sitting down and they're staring at her. And it wasn't Troy and Abed, it was Jeff and Abed, and it was the pottery episode. Because she's making the vase and she's doing it seductively, like she's making it into a phallic symbol. And Abed's like, "Annie, what are you making?" "A vase." And they're just staring at her.
Yeah, I'm thinking of
that one
where
too.
They're breaking into the office.
Yes, I combine the two. Yeah, that's a great one too.
Yeah,
just her bouncing.
We might have to expedite this a little bit.
Okay, hurrying up. Basically, the episode ends with Abed being severely depressed, and the gang coming over singing A Christmas Carol to brighten his day, and then they decide to watch Inspector Spacetime's Christmas episode, and it's a really good ending. All right, what's your next episode?
It's very heartwarming. My next one is, let's see here, where was it? Pillows and Blankets, of course. Because, the style, it's the documentary style. I love the way that they present this episode.
It's like a Civil War reenactment kind of thing.
Yes. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Keith David is the narrator.
Yes, which is great because it almost heralds his debut in season 6.
Yes. So after Pillows and Blankets is Basic Lupine Urology, which I think is my favorite episode of the season.
Okay.
The Law and Order parody episode is just, there's so many great lines in that episode. It's so funny. And then Digital Estate Planning, just because I like the video game aspect of the episode.
This is also the episode where we find out where Gilbert is Pierce's half-brother. And the video game aspect is great. The episode ends, however, where what's his name? God damn it. Gilbert ends up beating everyone to the ending of the game to claim his prize, but Cornelius has installed a really complex computer program and basically, tells him all over again, "I will not accept you as my son. You can have the money, but you'll never have my name." And that's the only thing Gilbert ever wanted.
Yeah, you can have the money, but you're not allowed to claim us.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to claim to be a part of my family. And
Pierce, who has 2 real big swings in this season, basically, Gilbert looks up and sees Pierce, and he's like, you took care of him all these years. It's your money. You're my brother, and you win, essentially. And so Gilbert gets accepted into the Hawthorne family anyway, and Pierce and Gilbert actually, walk out with their gang, and it's a really nice, just like beautiful ending. I love that. Like it's so good.
Yeah.
So those were yours?
Yes, those are my 5.
Basically, all your 5 are part of my 8, so I'll just do my last 3.
Okay.
Studies in Modern Movement, the episode where Annie gets moved into the apartment with
Great episode.
Jeff and the Dean singing goddamn Kiss from a Rose.
Yes,
An-
from Rose.
Annie's outfit in that, by the way, I don't know what it is about the ponytail and like the red jumper sweatshirt. Like I was in.
Okay.
I was in from Jump Street. Then we have the documentary filmmaking Redux. Just the insanity of this episode. Like it was supposed to be like a 2-day, $2,000 commercial shoot, and it ended up costing them like $200,000. And like it
went. Oh.
it just went. Oh, and
so
like
good.
the best part was like Jeff gets cast to play the Dean, and Jeff gets so involved in the role that he decides to shave his head. No, he's wearing a bald cap.
He's wearing a bald cap.
And Dean's like, shave your head. And Jeff's like, I got the bald cap. He's like, no, I don't like it. It's fake. And then we see Chang, who's playing the understudy, and he's got a bald cap on over his Jeff hair on top of his Chang hair. And he's like, yes, that's real. And he picks Chang's ridiculous fucking look.
What happens is that he tells him to take the bald cap off.
Oh, that's
it's
right.
Fake. It's tacky. And then
Yes.
Chang shows up and rips his bald cap off to have his Jeff hair, and he goes, that's real.
Because Jeff starts to think he's like, the bald cap and I are one now. That's what it was. You know, I don't know where I stop and the bald cap begins. Annie becomes infatuated with the Dean on a filmmaker role, thinking that he's a genius. And it's actually her revelation at the end that breaks the facade, where she goes, you know, just do it because, because the Dean's a genius. And if you don't do it, then that just means we've wasted 2 weeks of her. Oh, my God. And she realized that they've just wasted 2 weeks of their life, and she leaves. And then everyone else leaves.
Her whole thing is that she can't refuse. The Dean has to be a genius, because if not, that means she's been wasting her time and following an idiot around.
Yep.
For 2 weeks.
So the idea was that they were going to get Luis Guzman, who was a quote-unquote graduate of the school. So they called him originally, like, hey, Mr. Guzman, we're filming a new commercial for Greendale. Would you like to come and do a guest spot? He's like, yeah, I love that place. Sure, I'll be there in 2 weeks. And then by the time he arrives, it's gone completely off the rails. The Dean is living in his office with feces in a corner, and like I think there was like a wild like raccoon or something in the corner.
Possum.
Yeah, possum, that's what it was. And Luis Guzman actually convinces him to basically just fucking stop. And they are able to put together a commercial of just some of the more lighthearted moments of the shooting of the commercial. And it ends with Dean having an emotional breakdown saying that he just loves Greendale so much. And the two guys that run the board are like, yeah, all right, that'll work. Good job, Dean. They wasted $500,000 on the commercial.
The commercial was all made from Abed's documentary.
Oh, that's right.
Documenting
Yes.
of making a commercial. And
they even asked him like why'd you do it, Abed? And I think what did he say? It's just, it's one thing to be a fly on the wall, but I guess I'm just not able to be a fly on the wall or something like that.
Yeah, it was something very similar.
Yeah, it's something to the point of like he saw his friend suffering and he decided to do something. So I thought that was great. And then last we have curriculum. Unavailable. We get to see who the fuck was that?
John Hodgman.
Yeah, John Hodgman. He plays a fake psychiatrist named Dr. Heidi, and he spends the entire episode trying to convince the Greendale 7 that they've never been to Greendale and that they were in a mental institution. And it got to a point where they actually believed him, so they all left kind of depressed. And then Jeff's like, wait, what? And he comes back in, grabs him, and he's like, what are you doing trying to convince us that Greendale doesn't exist? And then Annie's like, yeah, I literally have a backpack from Greendale. And it's literally just this entire sequence that makes me love it.
Yeah. He goes, I've got about 1,000 pictures of the campus on my phone.
But then the best part is he doubles down and goes, hey, you're right. You're not in Greendale. You're in purgatory, and I'm the devil. And then Troy's like, I knew it. And Jeff slaps him and goes, stop making or stop letting him make you realize things.
Stop letting him make you realize things is such a great line.
Like that 90-second scene is why I love this fucking episode so goddamn much.
It's so good.
The best scene though of the season comes from the season finale, and I don't know if you remember it, but it was after Pierce decides that he's going to stop suing Shirley, and Jeff's like, that's the right call, good job, Pierce. And then what was Rob Corddry's name? Do you remember?
Alan.
Alan goes, God, Winger, I didn't know this place would make you so gay. And Jeff goes to respond, and Pierce goes, hey, You don't use that word. That's a derogatory term. And it's like, wait, Pierce said that?
He
And
turns around. He turns around and he screams like something like "I'm a better person" or something like that.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I don't even think Chevy Chase was on screen when he said it either. You just hear him scream it. Oh, God. The season 3 did have its ups and downs, but there were enough episodes in this season that I think qualified it to still be considered good. I just think when you look at the grand mass total of what we have still to come and what we've already had, I think season 3 might be the worst season because of its desired effect to try to go as negative and awful as possible.
Yeah.
Although season 4 was going to be awesome when we had the idea of having an ice cream class. That didn't happen.
Damn you.
All right, so do you want me to do the spiel?
Before we get into the spiel, real quick, just because it's very personal to me, those of you who aren't aware, this past Wednesday, Animal from the tag team, the Road Warriors, one half of the legendary tag team, also known as the Legion of Doom, passed away. My favorite tag team of all time, and I just wanted to give out condolences and thoughts and prayers to his family. Hopefully, they're not raising too much hell up there. But he is reunited with his tag team partner and his brother Hawk. So, rest in peace, Road Warrior Animal. Also, just another reminder, November 3rd, please go out, vote, be a part of the democratic process in this country. I will be reminding you every week on this podcast. Just vote. It doesn't take up too much of your time. It's something that we should all not feel obligated to do, but feel proud that we have the choice to do as an American citizen. So November 3rd, national election. No matter who you're voting for, just make sure you get out there and vote.
And if you're listening to this after November 3rd, we're sorry.
If you're listening to this after November 3rd and the person that you wanted to become president wasn't selected, I apologize profusely.
No, I'm just more apologizing that we have topical pieces in a non-topical show.
Yeah, well, if you don't like it, listen to it live, sons of bitches.
Don't do that.
Go ahead.
We're terrible live. We're terrible.
We're worse.
We're terrible.
We're terrible. Yeah, we're terrible no matter what. But
RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP, on Instagram at RealNerdCorp, RealNerdCorp. Swisher, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter at X2000Gregs, X2000Gregs, and you can find me on Instagram at 2000Gregs, 2000Gregs. Chad, where can they find your personals?
You can find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. You can also find the new edition of the, I don't know what we're called the comic anymore, but the new NerdCorp comic's coming out tomorrow. It's going to be up in the morning. It's hilarious. I love it. It's the best thing we've ever done. With that being said, I think
That's all well and good, Chad. We got to get the fuck out of here. It's time. Shut it down. We got to go. We're out of time. Get us out of here. Go. Bye, bye, bye. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.